I'd like to thank y'all for coming. If you would, please stand for our invocation and pledge allegiance. Our Father, thank you, Lord, for life's many blessings. Thank you for allowing us to gather freely here tonight. Help the Planning Commission, Lord, to make a best decision for the citizens in Pickens County. Be with our county, state, and national leaders. Be with our troops that are fighting for us on foreign soil. And all these many favors we ask in thy Son's name. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 2 is reading and approval of our last meeting, which was been several months now, 3 or 4 months ago.
Right, March 13. Minutes were distributed ahead of time to you. We can dispense with the reading unless you have seen any errors or omissions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor, or any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carried unanimously. Item 3 is old business. We have none. Item 4, new business. We have a rezone request. I'd like to announce we want to open up, have a public hearing for this rezone request. I'd like to ask Richard what the plan's recommendation is.
Thank you, Mr. Cagle. This is pretty straightforward. Vacant piece of land on Philadelphia Road, not near any of the 2 intersections, kind of right in between 53 and 515. And this property is currently zoned commercial. It was residential many years ago, rezoned with the thought that it could be developed for commercial. Never happened. At this time, based on a pending sale, current property owners wish to rezone the property to residential. The appropriate district would be SR, Suburban Residential, given that it is a small piece of land at less than an acre. Staff recommends approval based on no objections seen in the criteria to consider for rezonings.
Thank you. Would Mr. or Ms. Sturges like to comment, have anything to that?
Pretty straightforward, thank you.
Yeah, that's it. We were going to build on it, but it just cost so much to build. It was too small for commercial. So we bought a building that was already built on by the airport and the industrial park.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Mr. or Ms. Sturges? No questions?
Richard, who are the neighbors? Who are what are the adjacent properties to this?
Bowling, Henderson, Jordan, OCS Enterprise, Inc., and Orozco.
So is that a combination of residential and
There's all commercial houses, there's a brand new house being built right across the street. There's storage facilities here, and there's some kind of shop here, but other than that, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve it as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. This hearing is closed. for the rezone request. We have a text amendment, I believe is the next.
Thank you, Mr. Cagle. Pickens County Planning Development rarely gets a request asking about peddlers licenses, but when we have in the past, which has been about once every 6 months, staff has talked to the probate court, has asked the applicant to go to the courthouse downtown or to call them, get a peddler's license from the probate court office. That is no longer correct information. We found out a couple of months ago when a gentleman wanted to get a peddler's license. We talked to the probate court, their staff, and Judge Lindsay informed us that as of July 1st, 2015, the official code of Georgia has been changed by an act of the state legislature to take that authority away from the probate court's office. In many jurisdictions already, peddler's licenses are issued by a community development, planning and development type office. So it's appropriate that this gets put under planning and development department since we already issue building permits and business licenses. What I did is looked at Bartow, Cherokee, Forsyth, and Morgan counties, which has, they have some good standards about peddler's licenses. And so based on that information, as well as our existing information in the Code of Ordinances, what I've got proposed is that we define what itinerant merchants and peddlers are, require them to pay a fee, be issued a business license as peddlers, and just like our other business licenses, those would be 1-year licenses and then would need to be renewed. However, there would be additional standards for peddlers based on research, and the requirements would be licenses to be kept on site in the possession of a peddler or itinerant merchant at all times of business operation. Peddler or itinerant merchant shall also maintain in his or her possession a written notarized affidavit from the property owner authorizing the peddler to be engaged in business at the property owner's location. Licenses shall be displayed at the request of any citizen or law enforcement personnel. Official photo ID shall also be kept on the person of a peddler or itinerant merchant at all times he or she is conducting business, and shall be presented upon request of any citizen or law enforcement personnel. It shall be a violation of this article to fail or refuse to display a license or official photo ID when requested. Any violation of this provisions pertaining to peddlers and itinerant merchants shall subject the license to revocation. And that's based on input from law enforcement and research, as well as just past experience. Since I've worked in larger cities in the past and have worked in issuing and on the enforcement side for peddlers, it's typically not a problem as long as everything is upfront and well understood from the moment that folks know that yes, they do need a license and they do need to have it on them and have the property owner's authorization to have a food truck on a piece of property, have a, not necessarily, because this would not apply to yard sales, that they're occasional. Yard sales do not require any type of license. This would not be for fruit stands, as we already have a separate section on fruit stands. So, this would be folks who are either door salesmen.
What about a lemonade stand?
Lemonade stand. No, the kids can still do lemonade. I had it in the subdivision where I live just last week for summertime. Kids are out and, had a good lemonade stand going. So no, it would not apply to them.
How about Girl Scout cookie sales?
Girl Scouts can keep doing what they want to do with no license requirements. Right, this is really just for
But, I mean,
adults and, you know, from time to time, law enforcement personnel have had some issues of concern. I talked to folks here at the Pickens County Sheriff's Office, and they said it hasn't been a big problem recently, but in the past it has been.
Well, as I read this, I don't see an exception to
I don't
lemonade
see
stands and Girl Scout cookies. I mean, how do we address that?
Right, I mean, you know, I understand your question is something that has not been done in the past. I don't think this new requirement or standard would unfairly burden, you know, minors who are selling candy bars or selling Girl Scout cookies or selling lemonade. It would not put a requirement on them. If you would like to, we could work on the language to have an age. However, I mean, the more we get into, you know, the type of person, the age of the person, things like that, I just worry about being fair and equitable, and you know, I don't want anything that's
Yeah, well, I just,
gonna
you just,
put us in the legal, you know, issue of concern.
you hear all these stories about the police out there harassing. Yeah, I mean, I recognize it's not intended, but, you know, you think about bake sales, you think about, you know, different kinds of events where the wrong interpretation or unintended interpretation creates a problem. Counselor, how do we address that?
Don't know that it's been looked at before.
See if this definition makes sense. Peddler is any person, whether a resident of this county or not, traveling by foot, wagon, automotive vehicle, or other type of conveyance from place to place, house to house, street to street, carrying, conveying, or transporting goods, wares, merchandise, meat, fish, vegetables, a bunch of things, who offers and exposes the same for sale, or who, without traveling from place to place, sells or offers the same for sale from a wagon, auto vehicle, railroad car, or other vehicle or conveyance. So these peddlers would be people who
He's the guy that comes to your house, he's got a pickup truck, and he's got a freezer in the back of it, and he's trying to sell you steaks.
That's a peddler.
Yeah.
Somebody that's their primary source of income.
Right, I mean, they're wanting to get a license, and we actually have had a very few minors who I've been really proud of, high school students who are budding entrepreneurs who have wanted to get a home occupation business license because they're doing internet-based sales or something similar, but they have not been peddlers. And so really, you know, 99% of the people wanting business licenses are adults.
Well, I kind of agree with what Clayton is saying. I mean, if there was a way to make the language exempt
I don't know
scouts.
that you can issue a license to somebody under 18. I don't know that it's valid. The license is a
Matter of
contract.
under 18, the way
Yes,
this
they
is
have.
written, it could actually, someone could actually go down to the farmer's market on Saturday and say, you're selling out the back of your
I was
vegetables.
gonna
out the back
say,
of your
farmer's
truck."
market is a prime example, because a lot of those people there every Saturday from April through October.
Right, the good thing is being an agricultural-based community, especially having so much heritage or tradition that Pickens County does, there's already in the Code of Ordinances specific agricultural exemptions for fruit stands, for farmers markets, things like that. This would not apply for sure to them.
I noticed under itinerant merchant, it's just not door to door. They can set up railroad boxcars, boats, tents, or anything else. And it says temporary, but how temporary is temporary if you're given them a year and it can be renewed?
Right, and really the intent is not to hurt the ones who are doing the right thing, because there are probably so many more people who just go, just do. That's their thing to do. And I'm very much in favor of business and entrepreneurs. But we do have in the Code of Ordinances a requirement that since 2001, anybody who is operating a business and making significant revenue needs to have a business license, whether it's a home occupation business license or a business license because they're renting or they own space. And in this case, as an example, it was a couple of months ago, a guy was trying to do the right thing. He said, I'm giving you guys a heads up. I'm coming to the mountain communities, including Pickens, and I'd like to do this certain type of business, but I don't have, a fixed location that I'm going to be in. I want to be legit. I want to be able to show anybody that I have a license. And there have been times in talking to the Pickens County Sheriff's Office, and for sure in other places I've been, where folks have felt like, we're being solicited in our subdivision, in our apartment complex, on our road, in our neighborhood, where we don't want to be. And so, one additional tool besides general nuisance is, do you have a license? And so just having this, is it going to be used very much? No. But, if it can be a tool to help our law enforcement, then I think it's good. I didn't realize that as of 2015, they're no longer issued by the probate court. So we need to issue them one way or the other. Adding an exemption saying, this is specifically exempted are, these few things, whether it's, lemonade stands, Girl Scouts, something like that, that's fine. And if y'all want to say anybody who shows written verification that they are a 501c3 nonprofit, we can have that in there as well.
I think that would help because we have an organization that sells onions and things in the spring, and should they fall under this? Or we have a gentleman down. I think there's someone down at Tate Place I went through setting up on the side of the road down there with all kind of flags and stuff. Would this apply to those types?
What about this house right down here that's got the yard full and has had for years? Do they have a business license? Or is
Yes,
it
sir. I
required?
know the one you're talking about. The property is zoned commercial. They do have a business license, and they've been working with the county marshal to be understanding of the fact that they're on a busy road. People see them every day, and they need to contain their stuff. Yes, sir.
Well, I just wondered.
Yes,
If
sir.
they had a license,
Right.
their business, evidently.
So exempt, specifically, it sounds like would be minors with activities such as,
Lemonade stands, Girl Scout cookie sales.
okay,
School
I mean,
fundraiser.
Probably just if I go to
It's-
one,
it's-
see if we can get that one.
In a normal world, it wouldn't be necessary. We're not in a normal world anymore. And what I envision is somebody who's having a bad day comes along and sees somebody with a lemonade stand, and they don't think lemonade stands ought to be there, so they pick up the phone and they call the sheriff's department, and the sheriff's department comes out there. I think we need to provide for those types of reasonable.
Could you provide any definitions that it only applies to people over the age of 18 or over the age of 16?
That's really hard to define.
That's fine.
Are the nonprofits, the 501s, would that take care of the Girl Scouts? Well, it would take care of the lemonade stand, but,
Well, you'd probably be a Girl Scout until you're 18 or so. I think that's what the Boy Scouts were.
I don't know what the Girl Scout.
Well, a lot of times you have moms and dads help them sell Girl Scout.
Oh, well, we
cookies out
put them in
They
jail.
sell most of it, moms and dads sell most of it.
Like or share.
Okay, so we want to specifically have an age rather than any person, say, any person 16 years of age or older.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said, a lot of times you have adults helping sell, the lemonade out at the lemonade stand or the Girl Scout cookies and. Yeah, exactly. Huh? I put up a lemonade stand every Memorial Drive, every chance I can. Memorial Day, Labor Day.
You think it's appropriate to have an age?
Well, I think age is better than, I don't know the rationale for a nonprofit, I don't know.
Okay.
We charge a nonprofit a business license. I think we have to treat them the same as others.
Okay, so maybe adding in the age would kind of cover it?
I like the character of the activity to the extent you can offer that as an example. That makes it easier for people to understand. We don't want Pickens County to appear on the front page of the newspaper for having harassing.
We're having Barney become a little zealous one day.
But it's a good idea.
Okay. Exempt are activities including but not limited to lemonade stands, school sales, and Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah, like I said, just as an example. Again, the odds of something happening today probably slim to none, but who knows 10, 15 years from now.
In a normal world.
What's normal?
Define normal.
Yeah. So what do we,
So I think with the language that we've got now, it would be great to get a formal motion and second to recommend as amended.
Why don't we, how about let Richard and I work on some language and then we'll bring it back to y'all?
Yeah, I
Okay.
was gonna say, why don't we do that so we just have something in writing here that's in front of us. we can look at.
I noticed the violations is only the fact that they will be subject to the license revocation. What about the people who don't bother to get the license and still go out and sell meat door to door?
Or it'd be punished just like any other ordinance violation.
Fine.
But again, a lot of times this would fall into the realm of law enforcement personnel with general nuisance and, I mean, we're talking about the ones who go door to door and really, come onto private property, right? It would be more than just a fine or.
Not very many people go door to door. Usually the meat people, the people who have trying to pave the road with tar and those, and the religious people trying to sell the gospel. That's all you get door to door now. But this will not affect religious organizations. Speaking of that, they do.
It does not affect religious organizations. Right, it's, I mean, I know it sounds like, a deal or a big deal, because we're talking about new language, but, I mean, I've worked with it for years in other places, and it's not a big deal. It's very few in the cities. In the county, I mean, it's almost none. It's just when it comes up once every 6 months or once a year, and if somebody wants it, then it's good to have that and have standards for it.
well, once Mr. Poole puts this in the paper, you're going to have all kinds of people coming to revenues are going up.
That's right. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Item 5 is,
So is that just, I guess we still need a motion, a second to table it then, if that's the case.
Move the table.
Second.
they'll move and second to table the text amendment to the next meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimously approved. Item 5 is board comments. Any questions, comments? Item 6 is public comments. Anything from the public? Item 7 is adjournment. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Go back.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Meeting is adjourned.